My eyes opened to a world of gray. Not the gentle gray of a cloudy morning, but a harsh metallic gray that coated everything. The walls were smooth, seamless metal. The ceiling was a grid of soft, glowing panels that gave off a sterile white light. I sat up slowly, my head throbbing with a dull ache. Where was I? The last thing I remembered was walking home from my part-time job at the diner. The neon lights of the city, the familiar smell of rain on asphalt. Now, there was only this silent, cold room. The air tasted recycled, thin and artificial, a stark contrast to the fresh night air I recalled. I was lying on a thin mattress that was more like a slab of dense foam than a bed. It was just as gray as everything else in the room. I pushed myself to my feet, my legs feeling unsteady beneath me. I walked to the nearest wall and pressed my hand against it. The metal was cool to the touch, unyielding. I looked for a door, a window, any sign of an exit. I found one. It was a rectangle of slightly darker gray, completely flush with the wall. There was no handle, no knob, no keypad, just a solid, impenetrable barrier. I pushed against it, then pounded on it with my fists. The only sound was the dull thud of my hands hitting the metal, a sound that was quickly swallowed by the oppressive silence of the cell. Panic started to bubble in my chest. I was trapped. I was a prisoner. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the frantic beating of my heart. Okay, think. Don't panic. Panicking doesn't solve problems. I am Leo. I am 18 years old. Today is, or was, June 17th, 2025. I was on my way home. Someone must have taken me, but who and why? I looked down at myself. I was still wearing my clothes from yesterday, jeans and a faded t-shirt. My wallet was gone, my phone was gone, everything was gone. I was completely alone, with no connection to my old life. The silence was the worst part. It was a heavy blanket that smothered all thought, leaving only the sound of my own ragged breathing. My stomach rumbled loudly, a raw, hollow ache that cut through my fear. I hadn't eaten since my lunch break yesterday. The hunger was a sharp reminder of my vulnerability. I was not only a prisoner, but a hungry one. I paced the small cell, my sneakers squeaking softly on the metallic floor. Back and forth, 4 steps one way, 4 steps the other. I had to figure this out. I had to find a way out. But with every passing minute, the gray walls seemed to press in closer, and the hope that this was all just a bizarre dream began to fade away, replaced by a cold, hard reality. I was in a place I didn't know for a reason I couldn't comprehend. Just as I was about to start shouting again, a section of the wall hissed open. The sound was so sudden, it made me jump back. A woman stepped inside. She was tall and severe, with her dark hair pulled back into a tight bun. She wore a dark gray uniform that looked both practical and intimidating. Her expression was completely neutral, her eyes scanning me as if I were a piece of equipment that needed evaluating. She held a strange, folded bundle of silvery material in her arms. She didn't say hello. She didn't ask if I was okay. She just stood there for a moment, letting me take in her presence, establishing her authority without a single word. The door slid shut behind her with another quiet hiss.
You are awake. Good. We have work to do.
She walked towards me and tossed the silvery bundle onto the slab bed. It landed with a soft, metallic rustle.
You will be working for your food. No work, no food. It is a simple system. We value efficiency here. If you are not useful, you are a drain on resources. We do not tolerate drains on resources.
Her words were sharp and direct, like little ice picks chipping away at my composure. I stared at her, my mind struggling to process the information. Work? Work for what? Where was I?
This is an any environment suit. We call it an AE suit. It will be your uniform and your protection. You will wear it whenever you are outside of the designated safe zones. It is designed to keep you alive in hazardous conditions. It regulates temperature, provides oxygen, and has a reinforced shell to protect you from impacts and radiation. It is a very advanced piece of technology. Do not damage it. You will be held financially responsible for any repairs, and the costs will be deducted from your food rations. Understand?
She spoke with a rehearsed precision, as if she had given this speech 100 times before. I finally found my voice, though it came out as a weak croak. Where am I? Who are you? Why am I here? The questions tumbled out, a desperate plea for answers. The woman simply looked at me, her expression unchanging.
Your questions are irrelevant to your current situation. All you need to know is the work. You will be assigned to external maintenance. You will follow instructions. You will earn your keep. Put on the suit. Your first shift starts in 10 minutes. If you are late, you will miss the meal cycle.
With that, she turned and walked to the door. It hissed open for her, and she was gone, leaving me alone with the strange suit and a stomach twisted with hunger and fear. My first instinct was to refuse, to throw the suit against the wall and demand to be taken home, but the gnawing hunger in my belly was a powerful motivator. No work, no food. Her words echoed in my mind. I looked at the silvery suit. It was my only option. Slowly, I unfolded it. The material was lighter than I expected, cool and smooth like liquid metal. As I examined it, a small section of the wall behind me flickered and became transparent. It was a window. My heart leaped, but what I saw outside stole my breath and replaced it with pure, cold dread. It was not a city, not a landscape, not anything I recognized from Earth. Outside was the deep, endless black of space. Stars, brighter and sharper than I had ever seen them, were scattered across the void like spilled diamonds on black velvet. And hanging there, impossibly large and beautiful, was the swirling blue and white marble of Earth. It was distant, so very distant. I felt a wave of vertigo wash over me, and I stumbled back, my hand flying to my mouth. I was on a spaceship. I had been kidnapped and taken into space. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. This wasn't a warehouse or a hidden bunker. This was a prison in the stars, millions of miles from everything I had ever known. The guide's words suddenly made a terrifying amount of sense. External maintenance, hazardous conditions. She meant working outside, in the vacuum of space. My fear was quickly being replaced by a primal need for survival. The woman was serious. The rules here were simple and brutal. Work or starve. Looking at the distant Earth, I knew there was no escape. There was no police I could call, no one who could rescue me. I was utterly on my own. The hunger pangs in my stomach were a constant, painful reminder of my immediate problem. I could protest, I could fight, but in the end, I would just be a starving prisoner in a cell. My hands were shaking as I picked up the suit again. This wasn't a choice anymore. It was a necessity. I had to survive. That was the only goal that mattered right now. I had to eat. To do that, I had to work. To work, I had to put on the suit and go out there into that terrifying, beautiful emptiness. The thought was horrifying, but the alternative was worse. Starving to death alone in a gray metal box while my home floated tantalizingly out of reach. I gritted my teeth. I would not let that happen. I would play their game, I would work, I would eat, and I would survive. One day at a time. I began to pull on the suit. It was surprisingly easy to put on, almost molding itself to my body as I slipped my arms and legs into it. The material clung to me like a second skin, cool at first, but then warming to a comfortable temperature. It was seamless, and as the final section closed over my chest, it sealed with a soft click. I felt a strange sensation, a faint vibration that seemed to run through the entire suit. It felt alive. I stood up, the suit moving with me perfectly, without restricting my movement in the slightest. It was a marvel of engineering, far beyond anything I had ever imagined. Then a voice spoke. It wasn't in the room, it was inside my head.
Hello, user. I am AE Suit Unit 734. Welcome aboard. My primary function is to ensure your survival. I'm currently monitoring your biometrics. Your heart rate is elevated. Please remain calm. I will protect you from the external environment.
I almost jumped out of my skin. The suit was talking to me. It wasn't just a piece of clothing, it was a partner, a machine designed to keep me alive. A sliver of my fear subsided, replaced by a sense of awe.
Oxygen levels are nominal. Internal pressure is stable. External vacuum detected. I will provide full life support for the duration of your extravehicular activity. Please follow all instructions from your shift supervisor for a successful and safe work period.
The door to my cell hissed open again, revealing the severe-looking guide. She gestured for me to come out. There was no kindness in her gesture, only impatience. The time for questions was over. The time for work had begun. This was my new reality now. Taking a deep breath that the suit registered as a change in my respiration rate, I walked out of the cell. The guide led me down a corridor to a large airlock. Through another window, I could see the ship's hull, a vast expanse of metal panels and complex machinery stretching out into the void. My mission was out there. My food was out there. The suit's voice was a comforting presence.
Ready for EVA.
I was terrified, hungry, and a million miles from home. But I was also a survivor, I stepped into the airlock ready to face the stars and earn my next meal.